Okay, so in this episode of Sunday Night Toys, we're going to look at a little bit different diecast cars. There's only three of them in this episode, so sit tight. This is the Intercars Thunderbird. This was actually made in Spain. This is a 143 scale diecast toy, and that you'll see in a minute here the hood, doors, and trunk lid all open up. And that you see leaking out from around the tires, between the tires and the rims, that's actually a chemical reaction between the rubber and the plastic. I used to think that was glue oozing out that they used to glue those together, and that's, I guess, not the case. This is actually in pretty good shape. I've seen it so bad that you can hardly tell that there's a wheel on there. But this is oh, and there it is with the features open. You can actually see inside the engine compartment the V8 engine. You'll see when it comes around the detail on the dash and everything. And there's even a spare tire in the trunk that I didn't know was there until I filmed this. Because from the time I got this little car to now, I'd never actually opened the hood in the trunk to see what was in there. So kind of weird. You can start to see the spare tire coming around now. And it does have the same chemical reaction between the rim and the tire. So coming up next, the reason I want to do this episode is what a lot of people don't know about me is that I bought the house I grew up in. I've been living in this house since I was a few days old, except for and this is where we ask you to subscribe and hit the bell and the little thumbs up thing and all that. Except for the first 5 years of my marriage, I've lived in the same house all my life. And we were remodeling in the early 90s, doing something in the living room. I think we were putting in new carpeting and painting. And I pulled up the carpeting in the closet, and I found this little bumper. And I instantly knew what it went to. Now, this was in the mid-90s. This was probably about 1996. 1995, 1996, I found this little bumper. And what it went to was a little orange Volvo station wagon that I had. And I didn't know it at the time, but it was made by the same maker in Spain that made that car you just saw, the Thunderbird. And I spent from the mid-90s up until about, I'm guessing it was about 2009, 2010, before I found the car that went to. I remember as a kid, I was kind of rough with my toys. I took the cars apart. The rest of the car, I'm sure, is long gone. But this bumper somehow got itself tucked under the carpet in the hallway closet. And it's reminded me and re-sparked my interest to find that. That's the car I bought on eBay once I realized what it was. It was made by a company called Nacoral, and they were called Intercars, the same as the Thunderbird. And again, it took me about 15 years to find it. And that was partially because I didn't know what it was at the time. Every once in a while I would think about it, and I would go on eBay and I would do a search. I knew it was a Volvo, I knew it was orange, and I knew it was a station wagon. I knew that the hood and the tailgate and the doors opened. And trying to do a search like that, just brings up the phone book. I wound up finding all kinds of things that wasn't this. And one day at one time I belonged to I guess we'll call it a bulletin board or a forum where we discussed Hot Wheels red lines. And one of the guys in the forum had posted a picture, and you'll see the picture because I did save that. That was probably 10 years ago I found that. I did save that picture, and it's at the very end of the video, so you'll be able to see what I saw when I put my finger on it and said, that's it. That's what I've been looking for 15 years. And I actually emailed the guy that put the post up. And a few days later, he got back to me and told me what these were. And that's what facilitated the purchase of not only this, but I also have a white one. I have this in a sedan, and I also have a Camaro, which isn't in this episode, and I have the Thunderbird. So there it is with all the doors and everything open. You can see it's got the door post that goes around. Fairly detailed engine. I suppose that's what a Volvo engine looks like. It's been a while since I've driven a Volvo, but I guess that's what it looks like. But this thing is so detailed and so heavy. It's a 143 scale, which means it's about, I don't know, 4.5, 5 inches long, something like that. There's the white one. And it has such detail and such weight to it. You just know it's a quality toy when you're holding it in your hand. And when I got mine as a kid, my sister actually bought them for me out of a catalog. This is way before the internet. It was out of a catalog called MTI, which stood for Miniature Toys Incorporated. And I even took the time to look it up, and I bought a couple of MTI magazines from the 70s off of eBay quite a while ago. And I'll share those in a future episode too. But I wound up getting a lot of toys that were made in Germany, a lot of toys that were made in the UK, Sweden, Denmark, France, through this catalog, because it seemed like the American toy stores just carried certain toys that were made in like Hong Kong, made in America back then, believe it or not. And it was mainly like Hot Wheels and Matchbox and Kenner. And it seemed like, because these toys here were fairly expensive compared to what you would find in, you know, the American toy stores. You had to get these out of a catalog or somebody who knew how to get them from overseas. And it just kind of makes me wish that I knew how special they were when I was a child. I'd have never tore them up like I did. And I'd have never had to. I suppose I still would have ventured to buy more. These things aren't cheap, believe it or not. They're, if you want the Volvo station wagon just like this, the older generation, there is a newer generation of this from the same company that has bigger bumpers and a little less detail. But if you want this generation, these will, in this condition, start out at around $50 each. And usually that's plus shipping from overseas. It's very rare to find these here in the United States. Unless, like me, I've already, bought them from overseas. Most of these come from, when I get them, I get them from the UK or Sweden. So there they are, the pair of them, with the bumper of the lost childhood one in the middle. And they don't look that much different from this in the display case. I have the white one in front of the orange one facing left, so I'm looking at the driver's side of both. And on the floor of the display case right in front of the orange one sits the bumper. Is kind of a reminder of the original. And I've got other toys in the case that are kind of the same way. I have one that was stolen as a child that I replaced. I'll tell that story in another one when I show that video that might be coming up here in a few weeks. But basically we had a family reunion, and when the cousins left, so did that particular car. And that, again, it took me a while to figure out what that was and find it, and then come up with the I guess not so much the money, because I had the money. It's just there were a lot of money. They were expensive. So that's it for this episode. This is the picture I was talking about that I found online and eventually emailed the guy. You can see the 3 Volvos there where he told me what they were. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.